I just think it's so special that you have a dedicated space. Like a lot of parents that don't have a pregnancy journal, they might have a box and you throw all the memories into the box and, they put as much there. But like a lot of the pictures get stuck on your phone. The way I designed the journal, it's like a photo album once it's done. There's a lot of space for photographs, a lot of space for sticking in mementos. So I just imagine after the fact, baby has come, maybe they're toddlers and they're looking through the journal and they're seeing all the pictures. Oh, mama, dada, nana, whoever it is. And then they get older and then they can start reading the stuff that you're putting into it. And then again, they could be showing it to their future kids, like at some stage, like, oh, that's what granny used to look like. I just think it's really special in terms of like creating that bond throughout the whole family and just like really creating a legacy piece.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. And I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the questions. So let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Empowering Family Health podcast. I am super excited again. I have another fantastic guest today. Guess what we're going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about pregnancy and motherhood and memories connected with pregnancy and why it's important to memorize all the different milestones through the journey of motherhood when you're pregnant and even in the first year or the first few years of your baby's life. It's so important. And I have an amazing lady here, Brónagh, who is going to be talking to us all about this. She's the creator of My Pregnancy Journals. She is a mother of two, and she's a really passionate advocate for meaningful memory keeping during motherhood. And this was all inspired by her pregnancies and her desire to have a more thoughtful, more heartfelt way to document this journey. And I think it's just so beautiful. It really is. Because it's a precious time that we have, and the 9 months, and whether you have one or two pregnancies or whatever, it's just a blink of an eye. It's a very short time that we have being pregnant through our whole lifetime. So it's a lovely way to document all of that. So Brónagh, you are very welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, Joanne. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to finally be on your podcast. Like we've known each other, I don't know how many years now, probably 10 years now. I know Carol was on here a couple of years ago. So I'm really excited to be here and to be able to speak with you. Like I always speak so highly with you and about you and like everything you do in the sleep space and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited for today's chat.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, and we did. We had Carol Davidson was on, and that was an incredible show. And I know you two worked together with the cash flow as well, the cash flow game, and we might touch a little bit on that. But today we're here to talk about your pregnancy journals, or My Pregnancy Journals. That's what they're called. Tell us, Brónagh. I'm really intrigued because you're an entrepreneur and a life coach, and you're amazing at what you do, Brónagh. And I met you a couple of weeks ago at one of the MIB events, and you showed me your journals, and I thought they're absolutely gorgeous and beautifully designed and crafted and created. Tell me why. Tell me why you wanted to create these journals. What inspired you?
Yeah, do you know what it is? I'm going to go back a little bit. So in 2020, beginning 2020, myself and Carol were living in China. We had plans to stay there for another maybe half a year or so, come back to Ireland and then go off traveling again. We came home to Ireland for a really small holiday during Chinese New Year. And obviously we got stuck here with everything that was going on with the pandemic and all the different things that were happening. We had no idea how long this was all going to go for. Was it going to be a couple of weeks? Was it going to be a couple of months? It ended up being a couple of years. We're still here at the moment. But I ended up deciding that because we weren't traveling and I still want to do a lot more travel, that I would go and get my eggs frozen. So I went to a fertility clinic And, you know, I was just completely taken for granted that I'd be able to have lots of babies. I've always wanted to be a mother. I always wanted to have a huge family. I wanted a little football club. Not just a team, I wanted a club. I wanted loads of babies. And I didn't really understand the whole fertility and, you know, egg freezing situation. I thought, like, look, you just get like loads of eggs taken out and then they could all become kids. That's obviously, it's not the case. I've learned that
It's so
since.
funny.
Just completely naive. So I went in anyway. Carl was actually traveling, so he was an engineer at the time, and he was able to travel abroad. He was in Taiwan, the other side of the world, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to go in, get my eggs frozen, and then, you know, we can just put everything on hold and just go and have our family at a later point.
Hmm.
I wasn't even, I think I was 29 at this stage. I wasn't even 30. So I was still in my 20s. I'm holding on to the fact I was in my 20s. And I went in for my ultrasound, which is the first thing. And the technician there was saying, oh, unfortunately, you only actually have 8 egg follicles. I didn't know what that meant, but I could tell from what she was saying it wasn't a good thing. She said, you have 5 on one side and 3 on the other. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you're going to have to go out and book in to come back in and get your hormones tested. I was
How
like,
old were you at this point?
I
This
was
when you're
20,
20.
29.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I went out, I had to go get my hormones tested. So that was another trip back to the fertility clinic, which was like bloods and stuff. And the results came back and said, actually, my hormone levels were really low. So one was AMH. I can't remember what the other one was called, but they were like, not a good sign. They're actually very low. So we had a call with a fertility consultant then. It was all Zoom at that stage. Carl had come home for a brief visit before going off and traveling again. He was off to the US. And they basically said, like, look, get Carl to come in to get tested and come in a third time to see, was I even ovulating, you know? So we
Mm.
did that. Carl got tested. I got checked for ovulation. I came back, and the consultant had another call with us. They said Carl was actually better than okay. He was doing very good on all counts, and I was ovulating, which is good news. So she was saying basically, instead of freezing my eggs, which was the original plan, she said, obviously the freezing and then the thawing can like damage the eggs and all this sort of stuff. She said, look, would you consider just doing IVF straight away? She talked through, like, you know, how many egg follicles would you need to have one baby, the difference between
Yeah.
an embryo and an egg, and all this sort of stuff, and what IVF would mean, which would just has a better success rate. And I said, absolutely. At this point, I was having a complete identity crisis, Joanne, as you can imagine. Like, my whole identity was, one day I'll be a mom, everything I'm doing is for my kids, like in the future. And all of a sudden I'm being told I'm potentially premenopausal, I might not be able to have kids. This is what I've been told on the Zoom call. So yeah, so she said, look, if you're interested, we have a 6-month backlog. Book in now for 6 months' time, and then in the meantime, just try to conceive naturally. Which is hard when your husband is on the other side of the pond. He was over in the US at this stage. So I'm
Oh,
like freaking out. I'm like, you need to be here. Where are you? But he came home, and thankfully we actually just conceived naturally straight away as soon as he got home, pregnant with my first daughter. um so what that means and why I'm telling that story is, my friend, my very good friend who I've had for 20 odd years, she gifted me a pregnancy journal just as like a general pregnancy gift.
yeah.
So I had the pregnancy journal. I've always been really big on archiving, on photographs, on journaling, and all of the things like that's just like in my nature. So I love this pregnancy journal and I just put everything into it. But my pregnancy, because of what had just happened, I was a lot more like alert and aware, and I suppose a lot more like grateful for the
Yeah.
pregnancy, on top of being super anxious throughout the pregnancy. I completely lost trust in my body, and I just expected something to go wrong. Nothing ever went wrong, but I expected it. Two, because of what had happened in the clinic and stuff. But I was just really, really.
The ability to rest is the body's key to healing. Do you struggle with getting asleep at night time, or staying asleep during the night and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely exhausted? My book, How to Get a Good Night's Sleep, is easy to understand, it's solution-based, and it's packed with research to help you take back control of your night's sleep. My book is available on Amazon and it's also available on howtogetagoodnightsleep.com. This book is also available in audio and ebook. So get your copy today and start having the best night's sleep that you've only ever dreamed of.
Diligent with that journal, and I was really, really conscious of the pregnancy, more so than I probably would have been had all of that not happened.
So, that's really, after putting that into context now, why you're so because when I met you, you were like really passionate about it, and you were really an advocate for women to document their whole journey and to really appreciate it and, nurture it and everything. So now that you've told me that, it's really after putting it all into perspective for me, because, like it's 9 months, and how long do we live for? You may have 2 or 3 pregnancies in your lifetime, 9 months each or whatever. So it's only a very short time in terms of our whole lifetime. But now that you've told me your story, it makes it even more empowering, and I can understand why you're an advocate. So now you're pregnant. So what happened then?
So I had Brónagh, which was fantastic. Brónagh, her name
Bronagh.
is also Brónagh, so Brónagh, yes. So we had Brónagh, everything was perfect. I was breastfeeding, got my period back after 10 months, right after her birthday, so 12 months in, conceive again. Absolutely thrilled. I was like, will we ever be able to conceive again? Was this a once off? Was it a fluke? Like, still questioning. Even now, I have a second child, I'm still questioning my body, like, oh God, will I be able to have more? Like, I'm still going for that soccer like club, which I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but got pregnant again. And this is where the journal as well comes in, because I wasn't gifted a journal this time around, and I was like, it will be grand. Like, the retail stores are always doing like baby events, and I was like, I didn't have to look the first time, but I was like, they're going to be everywhere. But every store that I went into, there were no pregnancy journals. I went into the Aldi's and the Lidl's and the Dunn's and all these. I didn't see any pregnancy journal anywhere. A couple of the other kind of stores I went into, didn't see them anywhere. And I was like, oh, it's fine. They'll all be online. I went online, my pregnancy journal, loads of options popped up, but all of them that I clicked on showed not available, out of stock, don't deliver to your location. I was freaking out, and time was ticking, and my archiving brain was like, I'm missing time. Like, I need to like get a journal straight away. So I panic bought. I got a journal, and it was a cash grab, 100% by the person who was selling it. Like, it just was not fit for purpose. I didn't like the size of it. I didn't like the way it was, but also I just didn't like the prompts that it had. Like, it wasn't a good journal. So I decided what I was going to do was I was going to input into that journal while searching for another journal, and then just like transcribe everything over into a new journal. But as time went on, there was just too much information, and I was like, I'm just going to stick with this journal that I bought, but just make it my own. So I crossed out the prompts. I would just write letters to my second daughter, Saoirse. And then on the other pages, I would just like print off all these pictures, and it was like a scrapbook nearly. I was just like posting and picking like pictures wherever I could put them. So it looks like an absolute mess now, because it's like a regular like spine, like of the spine of it is just like a regular spine, and with all the pictures and stuff, it's a mess. It's a mess. So anyway, so I have Saoirse. She is about 16 months old now. She was born in May of last year. And it was last summer. It was in July. She was
I'm a
2
May
months.
baby as well.
And you're a May baby? Are you?
Yeah.
What date?
The 18th.
The 18th. She's the 11th. So very close.
Whoa.
My daddy was a May baby as well, and actually Carl's mother is a May baby. So very special month for sure.
Yes.
But she was 2 months old, so it was July of last year. And I remember I was in the garden, and it was a gorgeous sunny day, and I was just like reflecting over that whole process of trying to find a journal. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm actually, do you know what? Like, I'm just going to design a journal for myself for future pregnancies, so I never have to go through the stress of trying to find a pregnancy journal and to like try to find a good quality one. So this was like a purely for myself. I'm going to design one, have it printed, So it's ready to go for when I get pregnant. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, Brónagh, like, if you find it difficult to get a pregnancy journal, other people might be finding it difficult to
Yeah.
get a pregnancy journal. And if they are looking for a pregnancy journal, then the quality that's out there is just like not great, like at all. From what I have seen, it's just not good. So I was like, look, it could be something that other people want as well. So really it was a selfish thing for me for hopefully I have future pregnancies, I can be my own customer, but it was to share the good quality because it's something that for me you want to keep forever. Like I imagine my kids when they're older actually with their own kids, so my future grandkids looking at these journals. So it has to be something that's going to like last. And for me it's just so precious for moms to have a good quality journal. So that is where the journal came from.
Yeah, it's a really exciting. I can hear it, Bronagh, as you're speaking. It's a really exciting journal, and you're like a dog with a bone. When you want something, you go after it. So I can really hear, your dedication, and it's true. Like I'm actually really surprised that you couldn't find a journal that worked for you. I'm actually really surprised in the world that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
And having everything so accessible to us. So it's clearly a market for you, and to fulfill on something, that gap that's been missing out there for other mothers. But tell me, Bronagh, in terms of how do you think, journaling your experience as a mother and for other mothers, how do you think by doing that process helps them when it comes to like their mental health or how they feel about themselves, the family bond, the bond with their baby? How do you think it helps in that whole area?
I think it helps on like lots of different levels. And even whatever I mentioned now, there's probably a lot more levels that I just haven't said right now. But like one is the bond with the baby for sure, because you're constantly connected. So with my first pregnancy, we didn't find out the gender. So it was just a baby. We didn't know if it's boy, girl, who they were, what their name was, what they looked like, nothing. With the second, we did find out Saoirse's gender. So we knew like very early on, we got an early scan over in Portugal actually. So we knew very early on like what her name was, what her gender was, all that sort of stuff. And we had an idea of what she might look like based on her sister. So it was a very different experience doing the journal on both. Either way, and also as a first time parent and a second time parent, like first time it's just you and your partner or you and yourself if you're like electively just going like through single parenthood, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you're doing. But it's like very kind of like personal, like what your life is while you go through your pregnancy. So I think it's really special for creating that bond with the baby because everything that you write in there, every picture that you put in, like every memory that you put in, it's in mind. Obviously, it's for yourself. It's in mind that one day your child is going to receive this book as a gift, as a present. And it's
Yeah.
really kind of like special building that bond with them and doing something for them because it's a little bit of work. Like you do have to be conscientious of like making sure that you are actually filling in the journal or else it just becomes a dust collector that nothing ever
Yeah.
happens to it. But it's kind of like a selfless act that you're doing for your child in the future, which I just think is so special. But also like if you are on your second or your third or your fourth pregnancy or whatever it is, it's also a gorgeous way to be inclusive of all the older siblings as well because you're putting in all the special
Yeah.
events. Like 9 months in your life might be a blip, but like it's also very substantial. It's the bulk of a year. It's a substantial length of time for you as a person and you as your family. So to be able to like put in like birthdays, Christmases, Valentine's, Easter's, all the different special things that have happened throughout that time, like your own personal journey,
Yeah.
whether it's medically how you've been feeling or like feeling the baby kicking and the scans and all of those things, maybe a gender reveal, maybe a baby shower, all of that sort of stuff is special. But also like life happens. So like maybe a family member, this happens with Saoirse. My dad passed away while I was pregnant just before she was born, like literally uh,
Oh, sweet.
buried him on the Wednesday and was induced on the Friday. Like it was
Oh,
crazy. But that's,
wow.
yeah, no, it's mad. But like that's kind of like encapsulated now in the scrapbook, I suppose you can call it, that I did for her. So like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's so special that you have a dedicated space. Like a lot of parents that don't have a pregnancy journal, they might have a box and you throw all the memories into the box and, they put as much there. But like a lot of the pictures get stuck on your phone. The way I designed the journal, it's like a photo album once it's done. There's a lot of space for photographs, a lot of space for sticking in mementos. So I just imagine after the fact, baby has come, maybe they're toddlers and they're looking through the journal and they're seeing all the pictures, oh, mama, dada, nana, whoever it is. And
Yeah.
then they get older and then they can start reading the stuff that you're putting into it. And, you know, and then again, they could be showing it to their future kids, like at some stage, like, oh, that's what granny used to look like, you know. I just think it's really special in terms of like creating that bond throughout the whole family and just like really creating a legacy piece. Um,
A legacy piece,
yeah.
yeah, a legacy and a piece of history, you know, and to have that physical book and to, you know, have your child sitting beside you or even your husband or partner or whatever and going through the book and to
Oh, it's
remember when this
special.
happened, remember when this happened, you know, and it's, you know, going back in history and memorizing all or remembering all these wonderful moments and it just brings it alive again, you know, and then I can also hear that special bond with the children and the children feeling that you took the time and that you know that you honored them through the journey as well, you know,
Hmm.
and you marked every moment and it makes the child feel special and safe, you know, that the mommy loves them and you know mommy and daddy loves them and now I have a journal that I now it wasn't a pregnancy journal but it was the first year, it
Hmm.
was a journal for the first year and I thought this was I loved it. I absolutely I done it for Leah. Leah is now 14. She's going on 15. I'm going on 25. But anyway, that's another story. But I had a first year journal for her and I documented her first toot and the first time she said mama and dada. She said dada first. I think they tend to say the dada first. It's easier. There was a big fight. No, she said dada first. But all these things when she took her first step, all these things and all the milestones, you know, and I showed that to Leah. I wrote it out there. And we were looking through it all, and it was like, and I was like, oh, Leah, I remember that. That was, you know, when you had your first tooth, your bottom tooth, and when she got christened, and I was able to talk to her about all these things. And I think it's nice. It was nice for her to hear all these special moments that I had with her when she was a child, because they don't have memory of that, like necessarily their first year or whatever, you know. And it just makes them feel special. So I really get that. Um, and my question to you, Brónagh, is will there be a follow on? Because pregnancy journals, because I know I was talking to you a while ago and you said something about doing a 5 year journal. Is that the
Yeah,
part of the
so
plan?
0 to 5 years. So that is my next step. And do you know what's interesting? You were talking about 0 to 1. So I did 0 to 1 with both girls. And I say that Saoirse was my inspiration for my pregnancy journal, but I say Bron is my inspiration for the 0 to 5 journal because
Oh,
all the things that you mentioned there, like your tooth and your christening and all of that, absolutely you can get that into 1 year. But what happens beyond the first year? You've got your first friend, you've got all the activities that they're going to. They're going to preschool, they're going to school, they're learning to talk, like, you
first
know,
haircut. The first
first
haircut.
haircut, all of these things, you know, and they just go beyond 0 to 1. It's like, okay, well, how far are you going to go? But do you know what's interesting? I was listening to a book today. So this year in 2025, I've decided for the first time ever to just listen to autobiographies or biographies. I've never really listened to them before. I haven't really been a biography person, but all of this year, back to back, I've been listening to autobiographies of biographies of the most randomest people. And right now it's Kate Middleton. And she did a huge piece on like the early childhood years for kids. Like she's done huge campaigns on it, backed on research and stuff. And there was a survey that they put out for the people in the UK all about the first 5 years of childhood. And like
Mhm.
I mentioned it to you a while ago that I wanted to do this, but it was so interesting listening to it. And they were talking about like why the first 5 years are such a pivotal time for children to grow and their
Yeah.
development and everything. And I was then thinking about my journal and I was like, how special when we talk about like all the bonding and connection that the pregnancy journal will get for you or the 0 to 1 journal will get for you. But like if you are more invested maybe emotionally because you have a journal there and you're writing everything in, it could actually increase that bond with the parent and the
Yes.
child within those first 5 years. And I just think that that is just absolutely exponential. Like this has gone beyond like, oh, just create a nice keepsake. You actually don't know what impact having these journals is going to have on the development
100.
of your child, you know? I'm sure Leah,
Hun-
when she's going through that journal with you, like she's feeling wanted and secure and loved. And she's like, she might not on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, she's probably feeling, you know, closer to you and connected to you and thinking, oh, my mommy loves me. My mommy did do this for me. Do you know, that kind of way. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more like deeper bits to like actually having the journal as opposed to just like, oh, it's a nice thing to look at, which it is.
absolutely. It's a fantastic tool to create that connection. And you know, children, you're right, the first couple of years of a child's life, they absolutely need love and a sense of belonging and safety. Every child needs those. They can't survive without them. And we know with the mental health rates, especially you know, children when they grow up and when a teenager, all the depression rates, they're just growing and growing and growing. And it is, um, it's definitely an area of concern. And we need to act now. And you know, the earliest childhood years are the most important. And that love, belonging, connection that is provided through the journals in terms of the memories and honoring every single one of those moments and sharing it then with family, you know, and the children as well, helps to reinforce that connectedness and the belonging and the love. And it's something so like it's like you wouldn't like, yes, you're right, it's not just a nice thing to look at. It is nice, but it's so much more than that on a deeper
Mm-hmm.
level, creating that reinforcement. Because the first few years of a child's life is really important. And that's, you know, the Empowering Family Health, this podcast is I always say, Bronagh, you know, I talk a lot about business as well on this podcast, you know, and because women over the last couple of generations now, they're going out working, but they're also still the leaders in their household, cooking the dinners, looking after kids, all that stuff, right? But I believe, and where my sleep comes into it is, you know, when everyone sleeps well, I believe sleep is the foundation of everything, right? And when it comes to our children, providing that secure foundation for our children, they will grow up to be exponential people in the world. So everything begins in the home, and that's why I love every conversation. You know, bringing it back to childhood. I think it's just so important because childhood is. I mean, you can't get childhood wrong, because it determines who we become,
Mm-hmm.
when we grow up. You know, and that foundation is of you can't get it back. You just can't get it back. So I love what you're doing, Brónagh. I think it's incredible. I can see your determination. I can see your love pouring into this whole project, and you're even innovating now and thinking, what else can I do with this? You know, so I absolutely love that, and that you've done the research into the deeper elements of it as well. What is next for Brónagh? What's next on the cards for you, Brónagh?
The journal. So I need to create that 0 to 5 journal. Personally, we're actually relocating to Portugal. So we have a house there. I
No.
bought it. Yeah, I bought it. We bought it when I was heavily pregnant with Brónagh. I was like 7 months pregnant out to here, flying over to like get someone to sign the deeds for us. We were signing over power of attorney because they weren't ready yet.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's been really exciting. So that was 2022. We bought the house. We've been doing renovations. We've stayed in it since of like the old kind of style. It's now fairly finished, and we're hoping to move kind of maybe Q1, Q2 of next year. So, you know, sorting out preschools over there for Brónagh and kind of just getting ourselves set up and everything, getting family doctors and all the things. So the girls will be growing up Portuguese, which is
Oh,
crazy. Yeah,
wow.
mad, mad. So designing the journal, all of that sort of stuff. Um, but also in the meantime, so it's kind of like crunch time for me. I don't have forever here in Ireland, so I'm really just focused on getting my product into as many stores, cafes as possible in Ireland. I have a couple at the moment. You know, I'm working with people who actually want to distribute the journals, so they might live in different parts of Ireland, so they take a couple of boxes of journals and then they go into like local stores around them and see if they can get them in.
Love.
I'm setting up like an affiliate, like I have an affiliate program, whereas people who I'll fulfill the journals, but they have discounts that they can give to their audience or friends or family or whoever, and then they'll also get a commission on that. So I'm just trying to like create as many kind of like staple foundations here in Ireland while I'm
Yeah.
here before I
Yeah.
go. And then in the meantime, I've just been doing loads of trade shows and stuff. So we're actually going this weekend to the RDS. It's the Pregnancy and Baby Fair, which is a huge event. Twice a year it's on, and we actually launched at the event in April of this year. So we're a brand new business as well, like brand new, doing really well in my opinion. But like, there's definitely a lot of like opportunity for growth there. But I actually, do you know what I'm doing, Joanne? I'm actually blocking boxes of journals here
Ah,
behind me.
do you have
So
do you have one there that you can show us? You don't have
I
one there on
do
your desk?
actually. Yeah, yeah, I do. I do. I always have a journal close by. So there is a journal.
Nice.
So as you can see, it's actually big. It's bigger. It's like two head
Oh,
spaces.
beautiful. Yeah.
Hard copy, spiral bound. So like as I was saying earlier with photographs and
Love
stuff. So it wasn't
spiral
all.
bound.
Yeah, it makes it easier actually because when you're writing on it, you can put it down flat, but it also allows space for all the pictures. But I just want to show a couple of things because I absolutely love it. So loads of
Yeah.
space for photographs. So you were saying about sharing it with friends and family, 100%. Like I think people just don't print photos anymore. Everything's just stuck on your phone. So having an excuse to print them all out, and then everyone loves a photo album. So once the baby's here, get the journal out, and everyone can ooh and ah over the journey that you had. Um, all the big milestones of the pregnancy are in there. But one thing I really want to show Joanne, which I'm really proud of and I absolutely love, is at the end of the journal, once baby is here, there's space to write down your birth plan, which I think is really cool.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not what I want to show you, but there's a space here. So your birth story, you're here. So you get to like really put in
Oh,
like everything that actually happened on the day. So imagine your children when they're older and they're actually able to see like what happened on the day that they were born. There's another
yeah.
page there for writing a big letter to them. So just imagine, here it is, a special letter to you. So your baby is born, you're in the hospital or at home or wherever you've had your baby, they're sleeping beside you, and you get to write down a gorgeous emotional letter to them in that high emotional
Oh,
state
that
that
would
they
be
can then read.
really heartfelt.
I
Yeah, really
know.
heartfelt in the moment. Oh
There's
my
just
God.
there's so much I
Where
adore the
can
journal.
people find that book if they want to buy it?
So I have a website, so mypregnancyjournals.com. So you can get it on
Okay,
there. I'm also on Instagram at my pregnancy journals. And as I said, I'm at like lots of different pop-up places, and hopefully you can get it in your local retail store or wherever that is. But that's a future
brilliant.
plan. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Oh, Bronagh, I'm so excited for you. I really am. I mean, it really is a big venture for you. And when I seen you there a couple of weeks ago, and I got to see your journal as well, and it's a really good quality. I love the spiral bound. Very well thought out how you produced it and crafted it and created it and all that good stuff. I can't wait to see your next project with the 0 to 5 years. That'll be really interesting for sure. But I think your message behind it and the reason for doing it. Like, I know your own personal message, but there's a bigger message to help other people as well. Creating that bond and with all those memories and special moments is it really is something very special, and it's foundational, in terms of love and belonging, and really empowering health and bonding and all that with the family. Really, really important,
Yeah.
Bronagh. It's the center of my work. I believe every child deserves a really good childhood, to be loved and to feel safe in their family, and wherever it is that they're growing up. So kudos to you, and yeah, the best of luck with Portugal. I can't believe that you're in China
Mm.
now. You're going to Portugal. So yeah, Bronagh, thank you so much for being here today with us. I wish you every success on your journey. Say hi to Carl from me as well.
I
I'm
will, of
sure he'll be
course.
watching back on this as well, and he'd be super proud of you. So yeah, thank you, Bronagh. Any last words before we let you go?
I just want to say thank you so much, Joanne. Like I have a degree in psychology, and I'll always remember I had a lecturer who was big on the circadian rhythm, like, and I learned a lot about it from him. I wish I paid more attention, or I could remember and recall half the stuff. Maybe I have to go back and read my notes. But no, it always kind of stood out to me, and how like different stages of life your circadian rhythm changes. And then I remember meeting you again. It's probably about 10 years ago, and I think we were at a networking event and you stood up and you were talking about what you do, and it's just always fascinating. So that really stands out in my mind. So I just want to say thank you for what you do, Joanne.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really super important. It really is. Yeah, listen, Bron, I could talk to you forever. So hopefully I'll see you at another event soon. And in the meantime, listen, thank you. Have a great day, the rest of your day, and I will see you soon before I go to Portugal anyway,
Yeah,
please
for
God.
sure.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Bron.
Joanne.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue pushing these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Take care.